Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale. We're on Yak's Ben, and we have a fantastic show for you. It's Path of Fire story time this week, another stress test, and toxicity is more abundant in PvP, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion. I always wanted to sit and talk to you about life after diving into PvP. Do you tend to punch coworkers more often now that you PvP? Say hello to Jim.
No, because I haven't figured out how to punch people through the phone or the internet, which probably would help that whole toxicity in PvP if that was a thing. Because, you know, if you were worried about your teammates punching you through the internet, maybe you wouldn't be such a jerk.
Oh, we'll try to figure all that out today. Probably won't. You know, we'll put a good effort into it. And he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, with all the supposed toxicity in PvP, do you think this was Scarlet's true purpose with the anti-toxic injector and trying to move through the mists? Say hello to Age.
Don't think so. This is more of a player-driven thing. Scarlet's more of a PvE thing.
She did say you'd see one day we needed her. This was it. I'm telling you.
Maybe she'll come back. Maybe. But hi, guys. Welcome.
Coming back just like Abaddon.
Oh my god.
You can see his stuff over on Twitch and YouTube at MMO Inks. It sounds like he is having a bit of a tough day, so make sure to show him some love. He is our Canadian bacon of Guild Wars 2. Say hello to Inks.
It's been a tough week. But you know what? 14 days to Path of Fire launch, so it's all good.
Oh.
Crunch time.
Oh man, because that's coming out on a Friday. That's really gonna be hard to do the show. Oh,
That'll be great for us.
It's terrible for me.
It's great because we'll be like the first podcast of the week to talk about Path of Fire.
Yeah.
Hey, think about the
we'll all
numbers.
be sitting here. Yeah, we'll all be sitting here going, I don't know, haven't really got a chance to play it yet. Like itching to play it. But I heard it's great.
I'm only going to actually play Path of Fire when it launches, and then I have to go to a birthday thing, and I'm going to have to come home, do all the notes, and then when I wake up, it's going to be streaming a bit more Path of Fire show, go out for another birthday, and then Jesus. I can actually binge on Sunday.
Jeez.
So it's
Wow.
terrible. Like every weekend is something. It's terrible.
So when Heart of Thorns launched, it's just so happened to fall on the same weekend as a sci-fi expo in Toronto. And people were like, Inks, we're all going. You should come with us. We'll pay for your entry. And I was like, but Heart of Thorns launches, so sorry, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Which I didn't. Priorities, Age, priorities. Birthday parties, birthdays come and go. The launch of Path of Fire is a once-in-a-lifetime event, and you should not miss it.
I'm not going to miss. I'm not missing launch. I'm not missing launch. It's just that it's going to be a short launch for me. That's all.
This is basically the whole show. No, but you know, it's like it sounds like Age is gonna have to probably avoid Twitter because he's gonna be missing some story. Speaking of story, this week was Story Week. Yeah. So they put up some blog posts. They had like a guild chat based off it, which we'll kind of all mix it all together. But in the blog post, they kind of gave us a timeline, which has a couple interesting points. It's a great recap for people that haven't, maybe played Guild Wars 1, and it kind of gives even before that. But one thing I noticed a lot of people picking out was one of the things was the gods arrive and they brought friends, which were the humans, but they say in there the gods first appeared in Cantha, bringing humanity with them, which we've always heard, they brought humans to Tyria and they set foot on Ore. So I know a lot of people are kind of like, what? How did you do this? Like, the game's ruined now. We can't trust, the lore because they're changing that.
So in Guild Wars 1, there was lore. Actually, I believe it even says that humans first, it was rumored or something that humans first came a little south of Cantha. There's an island actually south of Cantha. But anyway, so it was always sort of that humans came from Cantha, but there was lore in Guild Wars 2, towards the end of the story, actually, I think, where it says that the gods first stepped foot on Tyria at Or, which apparently isn't true because they stepped foot on Cantha. So that's like the break there. There's also a tricky wording in this. When I did the timeline video, there's tricky wording in the way that they talk about the migration of humans, because they say the way that they word it is Cantha, then Or, then they spread it into Alona. But the timeline on the wiki, which has been sourced from Guild Wars 1, from the little books you used to get, which I don't have any of, sadly. But it says that Or and Cantha, Or and Alona, excuse me, during 200 BE were settled about the same time. Mm-hmm. So, which makes more sense if you think about it from a migration of people sort of standard. If you look at, let's say, real history, and I know this is a fantasy game, taking it a little too far, but if you look at general migration of people, or even animals for that matter, they generally, you know, the herd, so to speak, splits and migrates at the same time to different areas. And so you have to also remember that Alona would not have been the desert, the crystal desert and stuff wouldn't have been there. It would have been a sea. It would have been the crystal sea, matter of fact. So Or and Alona probably would have been settled about the same time. The way that they word it, it makes it sound like, yeah, we went to Or, and then we kind of came down to came down to, I keep saying Cantha, we came down to Alona, and then we, you know, dispersed out through Istan and so forth. But so, you know, a couple of little tiny hiccups were maybe oddities in the writing, but some pretty interesting stuff. I really like the timeline, and it details a lot more about Rakatorik's movements, which I really liked.
Yeah, which we'll slowly chop down into there, but yeah, I saw that was like the biggest thing that people were worried about, which I saw some people kind of try to give it some like basically back it, support it, which theoretically, I mean, they could. Did they say they first stepped foot on Tyria in Or? This is kind of like the wording for it, because Tyria is also the continent. Weirdly enough, what if, you know, they first were in Cantha, maybe used the mist, because I mean we've seen Scarlet travel through the mist as like transportation. These godlike beings, I mean, I would hope have more knowledge than Scarlet does. What if they used it to travel across the Crystal Sea, kind of like what, you know, since at that time it would have been a lot harder to traverse, with humans to set foot on Tyria, the continent, but just in Or itself. Possibly.
That's a possibility. I mean, in the post it says it's kind of like migrates. They went from Cantha and then to Or. I'm not sure. They didn't really detail how, but then it was into Alona where most of that information takes place afterwards.
Question: where does it say the gods first set foot in Tyria on Or?
In Guild Wars 2.
Specifically, what's the source in the game?
Right, I'd have to go look it up, but it happens around the Or storyline, like when you're in that area.
Because that's one of the things, is if we learn that via like history from Or. I was just looking at the article to see if how it was presented was, this is the timeline as according to Ilonans or whatever. So it's one of those things where the people from Or can say, yeah, they touched down here, and that's just where Orion history started. And it was just an assumption. So it's not necessary. Well, it's one of those things.
What's interesting that people didn't really pick up on is that this was already sort of, this was already debunked when Siren's Landing came out. When you read the parables of the gods, specifically Abaddon's, pay attention, Deo. When you read Abaddon's parable, it even says that, it even tells you that Ore was built up by the humans, and there's some hint that there was already structures on Ore that they built around, but the humans went and built up Ore, and then they sort of covered it in gold and added jewels and gems, and the gods liked this. And so they came to live at Ore, came to live on Ore. That doesn't directly dispute that that's where they first set foot anyway, but the gods didn't live in Ore until after this happened. The humans built it up, and Ore became its own sovereign nation and so forth. So yeah, I don't know. There's lots of lore recently about this. I think Path of Fire is going to give us even more about the gods and parables and such. So it's, you know, there's a little bit of I don't know that retconning is the right word, but sort of misinformation a bit.
And I was gonna say that's always the problem is, and I think it kind of gives a little bit of realism, kind of like what I think Jim was saying. You know, that old saying of like, history is told by the winners of wars and stuff, and basically who writes the history books. It's like, I mean, I always found it interesting. You know, living in America, we kind of learn about the, you know, Puritans coming to, you know, leaving England because, by the way, I've always heard it worded, you know, we weren't allowed to have like, you know, religious persecution, so we couldn't freely like do religion and all that stuff. But I've heard in Britain and in the UK and stuff, the way they word it is they left because they couldn't persecute people for like freedom of religion, like, you know, whatever they wanted. So it's kind of switches it. I mean, that's, you know, but you know, it's all depends on from what view or perspective, which kind of like I think what Jim was hitting upon. You know, in Guild Wars 1, a lot of the text was based off of the, you know, Tyrion, Kryta, you know, not so much Canthan writings. But now that we have a more full perspective, we're getting, you know, differences. But some people...
Anyway, it's more clear now.
Yeah.
And I guess this sort of leads us into... Well, I don't know, maybe we want to wait a little bit, but basically the devs keep driving home this concept, for those who might not be aware, of the amount of research that and development time that they put into Path of Fire, which I thought was pretty interesting. Not just on like a lore and story level, but on a like regional level, which is really, I think, like I even said this in my video, I think a lot of go unnoticed and sort of missed by the greater community, but it's worth talking about. I think it's worth drawing attention to those things because that level of detail is what really makes particular games stand out among, you know, amongst others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this is something that I've been saying since they did the attack on Lion's Arch. When they talked about that after it came out, they said, we wanted to destroy Lion's Arch within the first 3 months of the game's release. And the amount of planning that the narrative team has gone through with a lot of this, some of the transitions might be a little bumpy. I would honestly equate Heart of Thorns a little bit to Cataclysm in World of Warcraft, which I call the Knackening. One of the book authors for World of Warcraft, Richard Knack, wrote about a lot of things that basically made it really hard for story to work in World of Warcraft, and the Cataclysm expansion basically just kind of pushed all that off the board. So the Heart of Thorns might not be a shining example of narrative, but it definitely moves it in the direction they wanted. I think, what was it? It was in the narrative video that they talked about moving from a dragon-centric story to there is a bigger picture here that we are only just now figuring out. So I think Heart of Thorns did a fantastic job, and I think we're finally going to start seeing the bigger narrative that they want to present in Path of Fire.
Yeah, it's just that it's an interesting turn that they're taking with the story, because we're transitioning from not necessarily killing other dragons into this whole other arch of. I know I'm triggering Inks with this, but it's just interesting how they're going into this arc of to bring the gods back, because the gods have been gone for so long. There was no reason why they left, and we might actually explore the reason why. It's kind of like one of those things that have been left unknown, unanswered, things that would be nice if we got an answer to, and we've been slowly getting some of those over time, like with Livia, for example. Although, I have certain reservations about that, but how it was done. But we're slowly getting some of those back. We're getting tidbits of Guild Wars 1 lore or Guild Wars 2 lore that have unanswered questions that have been transitioned into this future story content. I'm just interested in why it goes, and I guess some of the lore kind of gets revealed or gets clarified as we go along, like with the gods first appearing in Cantha. So that's what I kind of like as well. I'm just curious how the narrative is going to go, because it's just an interesting turn we're taking. So,
is Canucks a lost puppy dog?
Yes. Yes.
That triggered the hell out of me.
Like, I knew I was thinking, I was like, oh, this is going to trigger ink somehow. I know.
There were a couple instances where I love ArenaNet. I really do. I know sometimes it sounds like I don't, but there's just some things that are written, and I'm no better. I'm guilty of it. But they say certain things, I roll my eyes so hard in the back of my head I fall out of my chair, because there's a quote of some sort, without getting into too detailed, about the quote is something about how transitioning from dragons to gods, or now we're fighting a god in Path of Fire, that is somehow cooler than or bigger than fighting an elder dragon. Like, how is it any different?
I feel like the perspective. I think it's just the perspective of how it's kind of revealed. For example, the last bit in the living story, when you see like Krakator take a spear to the head and all that. Sorry if it's spoiled, but if you haven't seen it by now, sorry. But all that
age.
Well, I think it's
they had like
that.
a month. So it's. And then you see like all that fire and brimstone, and you just see Balthazar turn menacing. He's like, "Yeah, what you gonna do?" That's awesome. That shows like this is like a real god of fire and war.
I think I have the better, I think, explanation, and I think Age was getting towards it, was that the reason why fighting a god is a bigger deal than fighting the Elder Dragons is that the Elder Dragons were always talked up as this primal force. It's like you're fighting a hurricane or an earthquake. It doesn't destroy because it has a reason to destroy. Its reason is to destroy. The reason for it to exist is that's its purpose. It's a wildfire. It's an earthquake. It's a hurricane. It's a tsunami. It does what it does because that's what it was made to do. The Elder Dragons are literally there to keep magic from running rampant across Tyria. Magic, they eat magic, they go to sleep. They ooze magic out while they sleep, they wake up, they suck magic back in. Lather, rinse, repeat. The gods have a sense of agency. Balthazar has a plan. The dragons just want to eat magic and return to sleep. That's all they do.
Sure, it's just the wording that they used. It was like, he's more dangerous, but he's not more dangerous than
he's on a level of power. On level of power, yes, they could probably do about like if Primordus and Balthazar were to fire blast something, you'd probably get about the same result. But I would say Balthazar is more dangerous because he thinks differently, plans ahead, is deceptive. I mean, look at the whole thing. Hey, I'm totally Lazarus, guys. Primordus wouldn't do that. Krakatork wouldn't do that. Rar, I'm a fucking dragon. That's about all they do with, presentation.
I guess I need to be sold more on his character, because to be fair, we haven't really, interacted with Balthazar too much.
I mean, I think they're taking the stance of he's even more dangerous than the Yellow Dragons right now, because now we at least have the theory that if one more dragon dies, we're all pretty much screwed on Tyria. So basically, we come down to the the superhero problem. The superhero has to be successful 100% of the time. The villain only has to be successful one time, and then they destroy the world. Like, he only has to kill an elder dragon. I mean, theoretically, if he was a good war guy, he'd be like, I'm going to send my troops this way, and I'm going to sneak back and go kill this other elder dragon. But I don't think that would be a good story.
Yeah.
But
7-Bit actually brings up a good point about that story instance where you become like an avatar Balthazar and just destroy a whole bunch of minions.
Yeah, I don't.
I would say it's, I guess Balthazar's kind of on par with that, but it's just that we kind of I think it's kind of under the assumption he's in a kind of like a low powered state, or he's just accumulating his power back over time. I'm not sure exactly where we are in that state, but
well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know what he's like at peak performance because we just haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, early in season 3, he's not. But he did consume the Bloodstone. He did consume, I guess, quite a bit from the other dragons. So, I think there's even a blurb that says he's fully powered now. But
okay.
I don't know. It's just PR marketing, right? It might not actually be the case. Because if he was fully powered, he wouldn't need an army. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I don't know. There's just it's a matter of perspective and wording, I suppose. I have sort of other. I guess I'm just really jaded on the story in general. I'm trying not to be. I really am trying not to be. Even when I make videos, there's lots that I edit out because I'm just like, man, that sounds really bad and really just super negative for no real good reason. I really am trying to keep an open mind, but just some of the things that they're pushing in this story so far, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's not even, for the record, for those who are listening, it's not even that I think it's bad storytelling or bad writing or bad story. It's just personal preference. It's like reading a book and being like, well, I didn't really like that storyline, or I didn't like that seasonal arc in a TV show or whatever. It's not that you hate the TV show, it's that you don't like the story being told, I guess.
Yeah, you don't like
a particular character.
When the book is following a character, when it swaps between different characters and chapters, and you switch to a character you really don't want to follow, and then you get to the end of the chapter and it's still following that character, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
I really hope Balthazar isn't like a pushover. That's all I really want, to be honest.
Well, QED, and that's absolutely true. And I think that's sort of one of my like eye rolly points is that ArenaNet keeps calling him the god. I mean, he is the god of war for humans, right? I mean, how else would you describe him? And as far as we as players know, they are gods in the loosest of terms. They're powerful beings that we don't really know the origins of, and we don't really know their inner workings and so on. So you just keep calling them gods. But really, they're just other beings that are super duper powerful beyond anything that we've seen before. So what do you call something like that without knowing what their race or species or whatever it is? Well, you call them a god.
Hmm.
Are you a god?
Sadly not.
Do you bleed?
But yeah, a lot of the timeline up until like it kind of showed like leading up through like Guild Wars, like Nightfall stuff, like a lot of stuff that kind of has been out there for a while. Or if you had the bonus mission pack, you could have that like they talk about the fight between Tariasa and Palawa Joko. Though, as if you guys played Guild Wars 1 or any of it, like the Scourge returns to Scourge again, like 1175 AE. Joko, this was basically right after Nightfall. Joko was freed, start new conquest campaign, made Vabi, Istan, and Korna surrender, and Joko either kills or converts the Sun Spears. For Guild Wars 1 players, did this feel like this was like what Guild Wars Beyond was going to be, like that portion? Because they said they were going to do one of each, and I was like, Yeah, just like the beginnings of it, but
Maybe, yeah. But didn't that introduce a whole new area? Because I saw like concept art, and that was like what Chronomancer and stuff like that was going to be.
no. I forget what they were gonna call the next campaign, and then scrapped it for Eye of the North, or changed it for Eye of the North. But Guild Wars Beyond was they were gonna do like a continuing story that kind of started to bridge the gap to Guild Wars 2 in the smallest of sense, like Warren
Oh, this
Krita.
is something else. Okay.
Yeah, Warren Krita for Prophecies. Okay, Utopia was.
Oh yeah,
campaign.
right. I remember now. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we didn't get Beyond for Alona, did we?
It hurt. I was waiting for it. They've been like, Abaddon's back. Yay. I mean, I guess I can't reveal that. I mean, only the true believers know about that.
Oh boy. But yeah, I think Joko's going to be an interesting
I'm scared.
wild card. He's going to be a wild card that I just don't know.
I'm so scared.
Yeah.
And nobody else is scared about the portrayal of Joko?
I wouldn't know. I didn't get to the end of Nightfall.
Okay, you need to leave right now and go play.
Literally every time we bring up Guild Wars 1, this is I'm like, yeah, I really didn't get far into any of the campaigns for Guild Wars 1, and
I got right to the end of Nightfall, but I didn't kill Abaddon yet.
Well, don't worry,
Couldn't
you
do
don't.
it. No, that's
You
not it.
don't. You think you do, but you don't.
But I've watched a million videos of other people doing it, so it's not like I don't know what happens. It's
We're
just
converting Zero to Hero Night to Guild Wars 1 night.
I was gonna say if PvP is kind of being, we'll talk about that later. If PvP is kind of being kind of a dud, yeah, that's what you, if you want to at least. I mean, I'm not telling you what you should be playing, but
so they portray the three armies that fight each other. So here are my fears. My fears are, number one, that Krakatorik's going to be a pushover when he shouldn't be, because all the other dragons basically have been so far, sadly. Now, I don't think Krakatorik's going to die. I mean, that really can't happen in the story, right?
Mhm.
But I think that in general, he's going to be like this pushover that he shouldn't be. And I think, I'm really scared that Joko is going to be portrayed as this funny, jokey, sort of evil villain character, and that really scares me. That they would give him one-liners and try and make him a bit humorous, rather than a serious bad guy.
I hope not, because that would put
a bit humorous.
He had a little bit of like back talking. Like, I think he would always like tell the centaurs, like that centaur that came with you, how he would be like imprison him again and stuff like that. Like, he'd have like kind of backhanded compliments, yeah, comments. But yeah, I don't know. I hope they don't make him too jokey, because that would kind of make him feel like Mad King, which he did have dealings with in the war. Like, they kind of.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind backhanding.
I see people are saying he's eccentric. He's kind of a humorous, jokey sort of character, but it's a fine line. Do you know what I mean? It's a very fine line between being that and taking it overboard. And that's my fear, that they're going to go overboard with the jokes and make him way too jokey. I just don't want to see
You're saying we want Heath Ledger, not Jim Carrey.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
You kind of want like the villain from Far Cry 4, right? Where like he's kind of humorous, but you know he means business type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to be the villain. If you just sit there for 10 minutes, you finish the game.
It's true. Hopefully that doesn't happen in expansion. Please don't do that.
But you just wait, and Balthazar shows up, and you talk it out, and you're done.
But I think
you can't do this. Oh, okay.
Regarding Krakatoric, if he does die, I think the power that will be released will have to be contained, and Taimi will come out of nowhere and take control and become the new Elder Dragon.
Well, Engie was mentioning earlier that they wouldn't mind seeing us fail in some way in the Path of Fire story.
I would like
And
that.
I totally agree. Like, I think that us failing in a way that is serious, but not, this is the end, goodbye, Tyria, would be a really good motivation for the story. And it would also be one of those things where it would get the rest of the world to be like, oh, so the commander actually, was making sense when they said, hey, stop killing dragons.
Mhm.
But, oh God, Deo, what are you going to say?
All I can think of right now is, like you said, we get to, Crystal Desert and fight Balthazar. ArenaNet, do this, but don't do this. Like, maybe have, like, a scrapped, like, line. I want the line from Star Wars Episode 3. From my perspective, the human races, or the Tyrian races, are evil. Like, basically, like, the whole
Oh my
Sith and the
God.
Jedi, like, the Jedi.
Next thing you know, somebody's going to make a sand comment at some point in time in Path of Fire.
You
There
were
you go.
the chosen one.
You were chosen to stay here. You were meant to change everything. There you go, Arena. We're writing it for you. Scrap everything you did.
Ironically, my Holosmith will be a Jedi.
There
Basically.
you go.
But actually, Krogdy has, I was thinking Balthazar kills Kralkatorrik, and some kind of chain reaction of magic of the energy ripping out of Kralkatorrik's body feeds into the other dragons, but also scars a massive amount of Ilona. Like, we're talking
Cataclysm.
the brand, but worse. Yeah, like, if for those of you who have played World of Warcraft, the Cataclysm, we're talking a giant magical explosion that reshapes the face of Tyria.
Hmm.
In many ways, I love that idea. I just don't have faith that they would do it or could do it.
It's kind of difficult to do because in order to make it actually feel like you did that, you would have to alter enough maps. And they've pretty much said that they want to time lock at all of the maps. They don't want to push anything forward. So,
yeah, I agree.
If they put you in an instance in between Tyria and Alona, I think it might be possible, because some of the area in Tyria that's to the bottom right, hasn't been explored, and that's part of like Crystal Desert area, and they could have an instance in the expansion that branches north, like to the top left, and that could kind of be that area where we have that final conclusion, and that could actually work that could make your idea work, I feel like.
The only things they could do, like what you're basically saying, Age, is I almost called you Inks. Basically what you're saying, Age, is that they really can only destroy Season 4 maps and forward, which kind of sucks for the game, for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
like
much
let's
like a
face it,
living
they're not
world.
going to destroy the maps that they literally just built because players haven't even played them yet. But then it's like, well, then how big does it impact feel? It impacts things going forward, but it doesn't impact core area. Like, everybody's still everything is great. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. I think it would be fun. But you can only destroy things going forward, not backwards.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is that there's just like the final instance where if Kralkatorrik dies and causes this huge explosion, it would be in an area that would have impact on future content or maps that just have not been, or map areas that haven't been touched. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a great idea, though.
Yeah. What if we kill him and Balthazar gets so much magic he just goes to sleep? The end. I'm so tired. Oh, that was a big turkey dinner. I'm just so tired. I can't. I'm going to bed. Good night. The end.
That would be great. Like, shh,
Honestly,
don't wake him.
NG, I like the idea of, like, a lot of people have to flee to an alternate timeline through the mists because we screwed up that bad. and then we have to deal like we literally have to flee to an alternate Tyria through the mists because there was just.
Didn't WoW do something like that?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I thought they were going to go through with WoW 2, with everybody going to Azeroth B and the Warlords of Draenor timeline, but they didn't. They failed.
Okay.
In the other timeline, Scarlet's still alive, and she just says, "Die, die, die," over and over again.
Mm.
And Timey's her personal assistant.
That'll be season 4 where we're just going to all these parallel universes. Go in, it's like Scarlet's World in the World. It's like, nope, wrong one. Let's try again.
Die.
Basically, we play Doctor Who for like the whole season.
No, that's Sliders.
Okay.
Oh man, that'd be fun.
So, what do we think about the fact of the 3 characters? The 3 main characters we're getting in this story are Ritlock, Casimir, Canuck. Or Canuck.
I like Casimir is being in the story because she had little to no progression during Living Story whatsoever. That really irritated me. Because she has an interesting background. I mean, her whole family is all messed up and stuff, or lost her title and things like that. So I'm just really interested how she's going to progress, especially since she has to fight one of her deities that she worships. So it's kind of interesting in that respect.
Yeah, I definitely understand where they're coming from in the sense of like the reason we had Casimir is because for non-human characters they can kind of see how it's going to affect a human, seeing their god return and it's one of their gods return and it seems like it's evil. And me sitting there going, I told you so. All of them are evil except for Abaddon.
One thing, I am glad we're not dealing with Bram because fuck him. And I don't want to get him and his pissy attitude saying we stole his kill or some bullshit. 2, I agree with Tavik in poor Rox because I like Rox. Rox is one of the most relatable characters because she's just trying to do a good job. She doesn't have a super messed up background. There are plenty of Gladium char, but I'm going to assume it's not too many because you kind of want to find another warband.
All of her friends and loved ones died in a mining accident, but yeah, it's normal life.
Well, she has, but okay. Her motivation is simple. She doesn't want to lose her family again, right?
Right, yeah, absolutely.
So she's the person who's just kind of wanting everyone to be like, can we stop fighting and actually solve everything and be a family?
Yeah.
Right. Like, why are you all being angsty? And then the commander's just kind of the one face palming at everything.
Yeah. Rox is going to die eventually or get maimed, horribly maimed.
I think Bram gets her killed.
She will be. Like, it's just, like, give it, like, either a Living Story or an expansion. It'll happen.
She needs more development before you can really kill her, but she's prime killing candidate for actually meaningful death.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of expecting Bram doing something dumb is going to get her either hurt or killed.
Which could be good for his character, really. But we won't see that until season 4+.
Yeah.
Though I am excited that they, I think, said on Guild Chat that Ritlock will be hopefully finally telling us where he was.
Giving us the answers finally. So I've seen a lot of people float this idea to me, and I think it has a lot of merit. I really believe it's something we'll see in Path of Fire. If you remember, during season 2, we got the memory seeds to play as Kaith. So I think when Ritlock tells us his story of the Mists, we'll get to play as Ritlock in the Mists.
I would dig that.
That would be fun.
And you'll get Solhathan and
the great thing they could do with that is actually, as you play through the instances, it would be the transition from warrior to revenant.
Right.
Like, and your skills could slowly swap out, and like you could have that point in time where like you find the whatever fragment of glint Like he talks to that mist fragment of glint, and then she gives him the ability to summon her or something like that.
Could be really good. Could be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
And
that
then we
idea.
have Prison Canuck. Hey guys, I'm Prison Canuck. I'm back.
Yeah. I like Canuck in general.
You know,
He's a
I
great
love
character.
Canuck. I love Canuck, but
What
and
would
don't
his
get me
role
wrong,
be?
the story that they're sort of setting up for him, like I feel like the analogy that they're using for him, it works. It does. It's just I don't like that the commander is his wet blanket, his security blanket, not his wet blanket, his security blanket. His favorite chew toy. I don't really like that about the direction that they said they're taking him. We'll see. We'll see.
Well,
I
I
feel
mean,
like Canuck
it
is
seems
there
like
for
he's
comedic
always
relief.
needed guidance of some sort. I mean, he was part of the consortium as just one of the people doing his work. Like
Basically,
I mean,
what
he
they
seems very much a
basically what they
mercenary.
said on that show, on the Thursday show, was that Canuck gets his freedom, goes out into the world. He's kind of lost, doesn't really know what to do with himself. So he's like, I'll go back to the commander because I've always had a great deal of success there. And that's like people who are in prison looking for their freedom. They get their freedom and they're like, well, the real world really freaking sucks. And they crave that, even though it limits their own freedom, they crave the structure of prison. So they go back to prison because that's what they're used to for 20, 30, 40 years, however long,
Mhm.
And like that story makes sense, right? I mean, it's relatable, but I don't know, that the whole lost puppy dog thing. Well, don't be calling Canuck a puppy dog, dang it. And then Casimir just scares the heck out of me because she has such a good backstory. And I felt like at the end of season 1, she had a great deal of potential to be one of the biggest heroes in the group. But slowly throughout season 2, definitely in Heart of Thorns, and then in season 3, they've let all of that build up and character development die within herself. And now they're bringing her back with this crisis of faith, which could be really good, could be a good redemption story for her. But I feel like her character should already be in a different place than they've put her in now.
I agree.
So I'm sort of on shaky grounds with Casimir, but I hope that the separation between her and Marjorie, this new crisis of faith, makes her a stronger character and not a weaker one. Because at the end of season 1, she became a stronger character, and she fulfilled, what I felt like was the hero role. But then she takes a back seat in, not all of, but part of season 2 is non-existent in Heart of Thorns, is non-existent in season 3. She even shrinks back to her old ways in season 3.
See, that's one of the things you're bringing up is how I was saying earlier that Heart of Thorns might not have been a great transition, but it was a transition. They kind of had to show us where everyone else was. And, they talked about it in this, saying that it's really hard to have so many characters and have a cohesive, coherent story. But I think that was one of the things, is if we just kind of went from Scarlet into Heart of Thorns and we completely ignored all of the members of Destiny's Edge 2.0, or not all of them, but like if Bram just did nothing, if Casimir wasn't there, if Rox was just absent, if any one of the characters wasn't there, we'd be like, where are they? So having
instead,
it's not a great alternative, but I really don't think there is a good alternative for a transition like this.
Right, but they're doing that now, right? They've learned their lesson that they can't
Right.
tell multiple character stories, and so they've said, okay, who are the 3 characters, or who are the X number of characters that can really help the command? Like Ridlock needs to be there because he needs answers. He's got history in the desert. Bam, fits. The other characters are sort of up in the air, and it's like, well, who helps the commander the most by being in this situation? Okay, well, Casimir is human. She has relation to the gods, where Marjorie doesn't really have that relationship. And so there's an interesting story there to tell, probably. And Canuck, I don't know. He's a fan favorite and cool, and people love him. He's fun to write for, probably. And so Canuck. Plus, it carries a Sylvari forward a little bit that you might not otherwise get.
I mean, I'm kind of curious of if Balthazar still has a connection with the other gods, because that could play very interesting into Casimir and her backstory. What if, like, you know, if they're all in cahoots on this, like, we find out they're all bad or going towards this direction, all, together, the gods. What if Balthazar turns to Casimir and goes, I can, you can be with your family again. Like, the ones that you lost that you cared for so much. Like, something a god could only promise type thing.
I don't know. Casimir's story is... There's another part of her story, too, that I really haven't talked about, and that is a lot of the behind-the-scenes story that's happening that I think is going to come to the forefront in Path of Fire, and that is her relationship with Queen Jenna and Denise and all the work she's been doing for them, mostly to get back in the good graces. Like, Casimir misses that part of her family, her society, and herself. She was okay for a while when she had Marjorie and was being secret detective, super agent Casimir. But when she got the opportunity in season 2 to re-enter the fold of royal society, she leapt at that chance because she misses it. And that makes sense, but that's going to come to the forefront, right? Even when you meet her in the demo, your character says to her, oh, you're here on behalf of the queen or whatever. There's some story there we're missing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, yes, but something or other. So I wonder, like, Casimir could, if they tell it really well, Casimir could be this character who is not rooted in Dragon's Watch. Her loyalty doesn't necessarily lie with us, because we're her friends, so to speak. So that could be interesting, and I'd actually like to see that from her, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think she's going to be kind of like our Kaith that we experienced in season 2, where it was like we felt like she betrayed us type thing. But I think Casimir's got her own agenda where she might actually possibly sell us up the river to achieve her goals. Maybe for her and Marjorie, so they can have a better life for her.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Talking about lore.
Super Sylvari Bros.
Well, apparently, 7-Bit just wants to be bros with Canuck, so his character is Sylvari, so...
There's a lot of great side stories that could happen in Guild Wars 2. It's just a matter of when and where does it fit,
Right.
Yeah.
There was when they produced the timeline this week, they started to talk about they started to talk about right after Nightfall, when Palawa Joko closes the borders off, seizes control, and starts to eliminate the Sun Spears and so forth. That's a great story to play. Who doesn't want to play that? Do you know what I mean? Living in that time, knowing that basically you as the player character, as maybe a Sun Spear or something, fails eventually because you get killed off or converted. I don't know. I think there's cool stories there that sadly we don't always get to experience. I mean, that's true for every game, but there's a lot of cool side stories that could exist that fulfill those gaps that don't fit within the main story. Malik was cut because he didn't fit in Heart of Thorns, which sounds a little bit absurd because you would think that's the place he fits, but it conflicted too much with the fast-paced story concise story that they were trying to tell. And so his content, along with other content, was cut from it, and so we lose out on that, unfortunately.
They also talked on the guild chat about like creatures with PoF, and Hugh Norfolk, who previously was a PvP designer. You usually saw him on like the PvP guild chats and whatnot, was actually now a creature designer for Path of Fire. He talked about creating the Hydra, like they had to make a whole new rig for it and all that stuff. So a lot of care went into the Hydra, and I do have to agree with him, because I did the same thing even when they were talking about on guild chat. They're like, no, the Hydra from Guild Wars 1 probably looked fine, because he went to the dev and he's like, I don't want to make a giant chicken. And he's like, no, nonsense. And I even looked it up. I'm like, oh, yeah.
It kind of looks like a giant chicken. Yeah, I get it. But I know it's a joke. Never mind. Let's just move on. Let's just move on.
Well, One thing I did want to bring up is the thing that Forest Spirits brought up a little bit before the Super Solari Bros line of discussion is Aureen's role in Path of Fire. And like they have said we are going to go back into not Heart of Thorns. We're going to have to go back into Quarteria, but that means Aureen has to move. Because the way the system is designed is we can't go into Heart of Thorns content unless it's instance or we have we take a portal or something, because people can buy just Path of Fire.
Well, that depends. Is Aureen part of this Path of Fire story?
Good question.
Because
Probably very little.
Because Living World, you do require to actually do it. You do need Path of Fire, which would make sense because then you could use other areas in order to complete things. I would say, if anything, Aureen would move to like the desert, but
only if we make her. I feel like there's going to be a time where Timey calls us, and thank God she's only on the phone. It's bad enough. But there's going to be a time when she calls us and says, hey, I have a solution to your problem, and the solution is Aureen. There you go. And then she'll be moved in a crate. Some holes in
Do you
it.
think we'll introduce Aureen to
Sell that on
Kralkatork
the gem store.
if he's still alive by the end of PoF?
Aureen in a box. It just
What was
shakes.
that, Daniel?
I said, do you think we'll introduce Aureen to Kralkatork if Kralkatork's still alive at the end of PoF? Be like, so this is kind of like your great granddaughter, I guess, in an awkward way.
Kralkatork would kill her.
Oh, maybe
Or
he's
corrupt
friendly.
her.
Yeah.
Or corrupt her. Or
Yeah.
he's friendly. Yeah, he's real friendly.
We're trying to save his life. Of course he's friendly.
Hey, he woke up and made a
Sure.
beeline for Glint's lair. He was checking on, he was like, hey, been gone for a while. How you been? Like just checking in on his friends. Sorry, you guys
I think
put a nasty spin on him.
that city will always sort of be her lair. I sort of look forward to. I mean, I don't know how long will that really take, but I look forward to the day where she grows up, where she's big and sort of starts to consume more of that chamber. Do you know what I mean? I look forward to that. I really do. And I do think Aureen will have a tiny bit of development in Path of Fire, but not to the very end of it, like not towards the very, very end. And I think that'll be more of a season 4 thing, that continued development, but we'll see.
yeah.
Any final thoughts on the whole story
Creatures?
week and Go Chat? And
Regardless of whatever you think, they did an amazing job at the Hydra. Hugh even hints that, and I love hearing Hugh talk. He's a very good storyteller,
I love Hugh in general.
Yeah, he's just a good guy. But a couple of things that I really liked about the whole creature discussion was they wanted to try. At one point, they were like, "Well, how can we?" Hugh was always trying to push the envelope, right? How can we make this crazier? What crazy thing can we? It's funny. He's like, "Well, how about having the heads regrow? Hydra's heads regrow, right?" And they were like, "Well, they couldn't really do that." But he was like, keep an eye on future content. Could be some cool stuff with the Hydra.
I want to see like that moment from Hercules from the Disney animated movie where it's just like the giant ball of heads and do it.
That's gonna be like a world boss or something that they put in. Is like,
Please.
It was awesome. So I don't know. What do you think? Raid boss / mega event boss?
I want it to be a map meta. Like I want something like that to be on the same scale as the Mouth of Mordermoth.
I want it to be a world event because I want people to be dumb and keep killing heads and have them and have 2 heads grow in their place. It's like, you're not supposed to do it. I could just see map chat going all angry about that. I could.
as soon as there was like one head split, people would be like, fail.
Yeah, one head split and it's a failed map. Okay, everybody move to the other multi-map.
Everybody sit down and start talking about things.
I love that they were able to use the decapitated worm head technology as well. The floppy heads. It's cool. It's good stuff. The other thing is, and this isn't actually new, but when they added meerkats to the game, which the other guy that was there with Hugh, the other developer, creature developer was there with Hugh, they added meerkats, and apparently there's a heart in Path of Fire where you get to play whack-a-mole with the meerkats. Now I say that's not new because one of the maps in Corteria has whack-a-mole with literal mole people with the dredge. But hey, that's still cool. I'll take a whack-a-mole heart. That sounds pretty fun to me. So.
Oh, they did talk a bit about bounties, didn't they?
Yeah. Bounty system sounds really cool. It sounds really expandable. I hope that they continue to use it in the future because bounty seemed like a lot of fun. I didn't even realize. I don't know how many people out there did realize this, but when you pick a bounty, each bounty has a particular set of mechanics that are always persistent. But there's a group, and I don't think the list is published anywhere just yet. But there's a list of bonus mechanics / boons, buffs, whatever that the bosses get. Now it depends whether it's a champion or legendary. They get 2 or 3 extra ones. But they talked about one called like Stop Go, where you need to stop DPS at a particular point.
Oh, that's gonna fail so much.
Like there's red light, green light with it, right? And so these bounties can get like these the bounties change. They're not always the same. So even if you fight the giant Choya 2 or 3 times, some of the buffs that the Choya gets, some are more annoying than the others for the Choya, right? So yeah, like it's sort of like they called it like a build a boss because bosses get these random, extras added to them when you fight them, and they sort of change, which I thought it was really cool.
That's pretty interesting. Mix things up a little bit, gives it longevity as well.
But speaking of story stuff, I guess slightly sad news for Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet, but good news for Angel McCoy has left ArenaNet. She was on the writing team and whatnot since I think 2007, but apparently she was a guest of honor at Trakon in Tampere, Finland, and supposedly in her talk she said how she parted ways with ArenaNet to basically dedicate her efforts full-time to Games Omniverse, which she founded, I believe it was in 2013 or so, but it's basically their goal there. They want to create a 2D casual game that is story-centric with puzzles and mysteries to solve. So, but, just wanted to let people know that, while she left ArenaNet, she's going on to do what sounds like, still some cool things, and can't wait to see what they do produce.
It's disappointing to see a writer leave, but clearly she's doing this for something she loves. So, good luck and Godspeed.
Yeah, have fun with it.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, but Angel is she's actually a pretty big writer as far as mystery / ghost stories and that kind of thing is concerned. Several years ago, I don't know whether she still does it, but several years ago, she used to go to this annual. There's this thing that writers go to. I forget where it's at, California maybe, but they go to this haunted house, like a literal haunted house, and they stay there for, I don't know, a couple of days or something. And it's always a collection of writers who stay there, and they go and stay there to have not only experiences, but to inspiration for writing and so forth. So that's more her like wheelhouse, like outside of ArenaNet. And so it's nice to see her sort of pursue her own passion, her own dreams. I've seen a lot of flack on the forums about her leaving and stuff, negativity. It's just really not fair, to be honest. I know that she was generally responsible for Scarlet and Timey, and I may not love all of those characters, or I may not love how some of those characters were implemented, but she worked on a lot of stuff in Guild Wars 2 outside of those 2 characters. And so it's not really fair to encapsulate a person into 2 characters that they created. And some people love Timey. Timey is their favorite freaking character. So take that for what that's worth, right? So some people actually like Scarlet as well. But you know, it's unfair. There you go, both you two. So like, I don't know, it's just unfair. I've seen the same thing with John Smith recently, and it's not just Guild Wars 2, communities in general. People have this thing where they like to put all the blame on the shoulders of a particular person, and they're like, good, you're finally gone, you know. So it's a bit of a shame. I wish her the best. It's funny when you hear about people leaving ArenaNet, you don't hear about the people coming into ArenaNet. And we've had a lot of narrative people join the team recently. There was the guy Michael, I forget his last name, but he's from Magic the Gathering, so he just recently joined the team. Connie, who was on, she's been in quite a lot of the videos recently. She just joined the team like a year or two. She joined the team after Heart of Thorns, so she's rather new to ArenaNet and narrative. Path of Fire, I think, is her first real like narrative in far as the Guild Wars 2 universe. So like, there's a lot of new narrative people. They actually have a new narrative director within the last couple of years as well. So, you know, tons of new narrative people.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I think we all, you know, wish her well, and, you know, hopefully we get to hear more from Games Omniverse, and like, yeah, definitely intrigued by a 2D story-centric game with like puzzles and mysteries. I mean,
As long as they're not jumping puzzles.
You know, I'm just so used to it right now. I've just heard in my head in Deo's voice, speaking of jumping puzzles, and I'm like, wait, we're not talking about jumping puzzles this week.
Hearing my voice in your head must stress you out, huh?
Oh my god, damn it.
I knew he was going to use it.
I don't know what you're talking about. But I mean, conveniently, there was another stress test this week.
So,
I got to play this one.
Awesome.
I didn't. I'm just not going to play
like the tail
any
end
of
of it,
this.
unfortunately.
What are you doing with your life? I just don't know it, man.
I'm at work, sadly.
But yeah, for people in the NA, it was probably a lot harder to catch. If you know, it was on Thursday, September 7th, beginning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's -7 GMT, but lasted for about like right around 2 hours. I know I caught the tail end of it, but Inks, you said you got to play.
Yeah, I got to play this time. I streamed, you know, my whole experience with it. Got to run around and just re-experience some of the things again, which was nice. Got to play a little bit of Soul Beast in the open world because the elite specs were available. The cutoff thing was really weird because they don't tell you, like, I can't really remember if they did this before, but in Heart of Thorns, but it just ended. I didn't even realize it was ending until like my computer froze up for a few minutes, and then like, yep, stress test. Like, you can no longer play this. There's not an active stress test going on. So there wasn't like a countdown of like, you have 5 minutes left or anything. It literally just ended. Like, they just.
Yeah, that was like that last time where it wasn't like, oh hey, like the server is gonna be ending in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. You know, like.
Yeah.
It was just like, boom, you're gone.
But it was cool. I had fun. It's nice to get a little. You know, it's funny, but I think that we might have one more before they launch. One more quick little 2-hour stress test. Make sure everything is good to go for the week that it launches. But it was nice just to get in, get a little taste again, and then just, you know, move on.
Yeah, like I just caught a little bit of it, and I did notice something, but I guess that's story related, so we won't talk about it. It deals with one of the characters that we probably won't be hearing a lot from because of it. But
the demo? In the demo story?
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's played the demo story, haven't they?
Well, this is after story when you're searching around the place, because I didn't see it last time in the other stress test. I could have missed it.
Oh, okay.
But
I know they updated a couple of. There wasn't a whole lot of updating that's been done. So for people who don't know, ArenaNet has said a couple of times now that they are working on balances to the elite specializations, but those won't appear anytime before Path of Fire launches. What's the riverboat called? The special place on the Elon?
The Lily?
The Lily?
Yeah.
That's
Lily
been
Elon?
like we've seen from the dev client that's been updated. Like it looks much different, much bigger and a lot more intricate. But that, of course, hasn't been updated in the game yet for demos and such. But what they did update, a couple of things. One of them was there's a vendor selling, there's an Awakened selling Apollo Ajoko statues. And before you could talk to him, and he had stuff to say, but you couldn't buy anything from him. And so in the latest demo, you could actually buy the minis and stuff you could buy from him.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I forget what currency he wants, but yeah, so they updated a couple, they updated some vendors and stuff, but nothing too revealing as far as like new stats or sigils or anything as far as I know.
Oh, and Chad's saying the Raptors were jumping shorter in this test for some reason, but
Were they?
I didn't notice that, but
the turning was a little sharper, I felt like.
Either that or you're just used to it now.
Could be. Yeah, could be. I felt like strafe worked a little bit better on them, but it could be that I'm just used to it now. Jump wise, I don't know. I didn't miss any jumps, so I didn't feel like it was. Maybe it is, but I didn't feel it.
I did notice they didn't fix the transition to the stairs for the Raptor. I was still getting stuck on steps.
Yeah,
There are a
still
lot
getting
of
stuck on
stairs. There are a lot of stairs in the game that you get stuck on regardless of whether you're on the mount or anything. That's the terrain variance like that has a problem in this game, but I don't know. The thing I haven't actually really looked to set up time to get into the stress tests at all for the past few that have gone up, mostly because one, I know Cheesy in chat said that they feel like they kind of spoiled the first half an hour to an hour of the game for themselves. But
Big time.
The other thing is like, yeah, you can play the elite specs during these stress tests, but they're going to be exactly what you played the first time, even though we've done some balancing stuff.
I
really
definitely felt exactly what Cheesy is talking about, where I got into the stress test and I was like, oh, I gotta play through the story again. I don't really want to do that. Like I'm already tired of the instance, and I haven't even the game hasn't even launched yet. I already am not paying attention to what's going on because I played it, several times already.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame, but that happens. Like that's why. Luckily, I don't normally face that in the game, but I know people who have a lot of alts who play through the story on every character, and I used to do that. I used to play through the story 9 times, and it like nothing really holds up to playing something 9 times in a row. Do you know what I mean? Right after one another. But those are the perils of playing a beta demo stress test, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also do like how they've made sure the verbiage is always stress test preview, that this isn't a beta. So
right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, while it's fun going in those, it's like, yeah, now that we got to play those, elite specs in the new PvE areas, I'm like itching to play. It's like I want to play for keeps now. Like I want them to be permanent.
Exactly. Soon enough.
I want to collect all those new, mastery points and stuff like that. Proof of heroics, if you will.
I knew it. I knew it as soon as you said keep. I knew it. Oh. This hurts. This physically hurts.
This is so fun. So on the forums, they did say for War v World, and don't be saving your proof of heroics that you currently have. They said there will be a new skirmish chest with the new currency in them. All skirmish chests earned before PoF launch will contain proof of heroics. All skirmish chests earned after will have the new currency. So you can't stock up for the new stuff. For the new elite specs. So
I'm not surprised at all. I'm going to assume that you can basically choose between a hot skirmishing chest and a PoF chest at this point. Then
I don't know what they mean by a new skirmish chest. I don't know if it means it's the same skirmish chest but updated, or if it's
it was vague. Because I totally understand them wanting to segregate the currencies for Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, because they don't want somebody saving up their Proof of Heroics and just being like, I have unlocked all of the things.
Right.
Because that's not the point. You're not supposed to do that.
I thought they would use Proof of Heroics and make them super expensive to get Path of Fire things and maybe tone it down after time, but I guess it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, new currency does make sense to me. I realize that it's currency bloat, but
well, you say currency bloat, but it's not like it sits in our inventory. So
no, it sits in the wallet, but are you going to continue to get? I mean, are you going to continue to get the old Proof of Heroics?
Yeah,
I would assume, because they still have the vendor there.
I think that there's a better. I mean, and we don't know. We haven't seen the full system and how it's going to work, but I feel like the way that they should do it, at least at, upon basic thinking about it, is that they should just convert everything to the new token. Let you spend your old tokens. You don't take that away necessarily. When you use up all your old tokens, that currency just sort of disappears. We had that with something else that people sort of saved and held on to.
Well, no, it's
weren't
hero
those
points,
commemorative
because
badges of Lion's Arch or something? Because they were trying to dispose of resources, but yeah, go ahead.
The problem is even people in PvE, people who have gone and map completed all 4 maps or all of the maps in Heart of Thorns, people who have full map completion with all of the hero points available are still going to have that giant chunk of hero points left over.
Yeah, that's always going to be there, though.
Depending on how much you get out of, how much the new elite specs cost, PvE players who've gone and map completed might just be able to unlock all the elite specs first day anyway.
How do you mean?
Because they have all of unless they introduce unique hero points for Path of Fire, which we don't. They might, but they have a precedent. There's no precedent for it. But one expansion isn't exactly a trend.
Right, but it's more than likely that you're going to need more hero points than is currently available. So you're still going to have to do a couple of Path of Fire ones.
Because that's. I'm just hoping that they don't reduce the number of points the elite spec costs again, like they did when Heart of Thorns came out.
See, I don't know. I think it's a real problem when you start to think about it, because we have hero point bloat. They always have to add. Let's say the number is 400. I don't think it will be, but let's just pretend for a second the number is 400.
Right.
That puts us in a place where we need to go out and get I forget 100 points or something. Let's say, right. But that means that you need to add 400 points into Path of Fire. Do you know what I mean? Because the way that you develop it, or the way ArenaNet develops it, is that you always have to have extra so that people aren't forced to do every single hero point.
You would have to have
specialization.
But the thing is, you also have Corteria content. So when you say you have Path of Fire and you're unlocking the Path of Fire elite spec, you have Corteria plus Path of Fire content. So you need the grand total skill points you need for base class, which is 1 to 80. You just need to level up to get those skill points now.
Right.
So 1 to 80 gets you your full base class, and then you need a certain amount and then the padding. So it's really just the people who have both expansions that'll just be able to, because Heart of Thorns, you would have to have that exact same amount. Like a person who had basically in a game dev high level thing that I'm thinking right now is, if you have someone who just has Heart of Thorns and someone who just has Path of Fire, each of them would have the exact same number of hero points available to them, because that's the padding that they have on the elite specs. And then if you have someone who has both, they have Corteria, PoF, and Hot, so they're going to have a crap ton of leftover hero points, so they're just going to be able to unlock anything going forward.
Right, but that's my point, though. Arena is going to develop it in Path of Fire so that there's always extra hero points than you'll ever need. Like there's always going to be that overflow of hero points. I would almost prefer, and I don't think ArenaNet's going to do this for the record, but I would almost prefer Path of Fire, Heart of Thorn. I think Elite Spec should cost the same regardless. I don't think you should. Now they reduced it to what, 250 for Heart of Thorns? What is the total cost? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it used to be like 350 or 400.
It was like 400 at
It's
launch.
400. Yeah.
And people were like, which I didn't think was that bad. I was okay with that.
It wasn't.
But people were like, I need to play it day one. This is, you know, I sort of understand. I understand that mindset to an extent. I think people went a little crazy with it, but whatever. But I think that you should stay consistent from expansion to expansion with the number of hero points, and then just, you know, don't provide so many extra resources for these things, because there's so many extra hero points. Like, I don't know, feels like bloat in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, if you have all the extra stuff sitting around, you've already done the quote-unquote challenge that you need to do in order to unlock the spec. So you're just kind of getting the work out of the way before you need to use the points, but you still put the effort in. I don't necessarily think it's something that's super difficult, but it's one of those things where it's like, if they don't want people unlocking something right away, then they would need to do another currency, but I don't know if they're going to.
Not only that, but the people who really care about that stuff are going to rush and do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you're not stopping them from their habits. They're still going to ignore whatever and go get their elite specialization right away. I don't know. I think it's a tough design. I think it's an interesting design decision to be made. But getting back to the new proof of heroics, whatever they'll be called, Fire of Heroics or whatever, I don't know.
Proof of Fire?
A Proof of Fire tokens, whatever they're called. I don't know. I think it's necessary to sort of add a new token to the system. You don't want to use the old ones, even at an inflated price, let's say, because forget hero points for a second. What about the new runes and sigils and that kind of thing, armor stat sets? I feel like ArenaNet doesn't want you to instant unlock. And I had actually somebody suggest to me that ArenaNet should consider just getting rid of elite unlocks for World vs. World. Have it be like PvP and just unlock the elite specialization. So then you don't even need to need as many, I guess. But I feel like they're going to balance the tokens around it anyway. And so you'll have this. I mean, I have like 400 proof of heroics, and that's nothing compared to what, like, Peapot's got like 15,000 of them or something. He's got some ridiculous amount, you know? So people who really play World vs. World will have a bloated proof of heroics currency, and you can't just have them unlocking everything day one. They want you to, they want to breadcrumb that out, right? They want
this comes, the whole talking about skill points just came from me trying to do skill points easy on my Revenant. Okay, yeah, I forgot about all the new stat set stuff and the new runes and everything coming from the proof of heroics vendor. So yeah, no, that's a much better point than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think like ArenaNet wants you to occupy your time with getting that stuff rather than have it all day one.
Yeah, and they should. I totally agree. I don't think everyone should get everything day one.
Yeah, I agree that it shouldn't be a day one thing. But
Sort of catching up on chat.
Yeah, I honestly, we've said this in the past. I would love a profession-specific quest to unlock the elite spec, like a journey to, like, hopefully it's heading kind of in that direction, because we have a little bit more lore, it seems like, in PoF for the new elite specs. I'm not going to say the next expansion is going to have a, elite spec journey, but,
they could totally do it with the collection system.
Yeah.
And if they did do something like that, I don't know whether they would, but if they did do something like that, I think that's just more of a reason to auto unlock for World vs. World. I mean, it is its own game mode. It doesn't necessarily, like, you're already giving them a way to not go into PvE to do those unlocks. Then why? It's just an arbitrary thing to keep you playing. It's just a mouse wheel. Anyway.
Yeah. But Any final thoughts on the World War Improved Heroics? Well, if you were slightly mad about that, maybe you're, a bit angry about not having that proof of heroics. Interestingly, in this past week, it's kind of been brought up more so than normal. Is a kind of a toxicity problem in PvP, and also it seems like in kind of the game in general. But yeah. First off, like I believe it was in a PvP match. Like someone AFK'd, and so everybody just decided to sit down and talk it out. Just talk about like issues with PvP, matchmaking, and stuff like that. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts about that? About, I guess, making use of their time in a way?
Oh man. I will let Milthanis go first because he's been PvP more than me. So.
One, I think, despite the fact that this topic is about toxicity in PvP, the fact that the other 9 people just sat down and chatted in say chat for the rest of the match until it timed out or finished. I think they said in the chat that it was a 500 to 498 game. But even in PvP, where every game that's PvP based, that's where you find the highest level of salt, the angriest people. Even in PvP, Guild Wars 2 PvP is nicer than any other game I have ever played. Like, somebody saying, let's just all sit down and talk because people are pissed off about this, people would just tell you to shut the hell up and just play the game or something.
Shut the hell up might be nice.
Yeah, that would actually be nice. And Cheesy Ant is saying they decided the match was a 3v3. Awesome. That's great. And then they, like, I guess they kind of tried to game it so that they got the close win bonus, so the people on the losing side got more pips out of it than just getting the 4 points, the 3 to 4 points they might have gotten. So for me, honestly, the weirdest thing is I got a guy, messaging me is like, yeah, great stacked team. And it's like, can only duo queue at most ranked right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, no, we were queued because this was after Adams had to go raid for 0 to Hero Night. So I was solo queuing by myself. And he's like, yeah, no. I'm just like, yeah, no, we were all individuals. And he's just like, are you all plat then? And I'm like, no, I'm gold 1. Oh. See, I didn't want to say something because that was Age, I told you this about. That was the match where I had the Guardian using a hammer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know if he was the Hammer Guardian, so I didn't want to say anything about there being a Hammer Guardian on his team. But there was a thief in there that told me to kill myself. So that's about the worst I've gotten this season so far. But I talk about, and we'll get to the second example in this one, but when I see salt in PvP, it's usually super extreme, but it's rare. Like Guild Wars 2 salt is really rare, but it's always that guy that you're just like, whoa, hey, that's psych ward kind of stuff. You should go talk to somebody about your anger problems. So,
I haven't been playing this season. I'm just not overly interested. Like I said in the past, I'm probably just going to do promos near the end of the season. That's it. But I have noticed last season, compared to other seasons, that toxicity has been getting progressively worse over time. Now, like Malthana said, toxicity in this game is like the friendliest you'll ever see, but it's still noticeably getting worse and worse over time, I've noticed. And just leads me to believe I don't feel ArenaNet's handling a little bit properly. And I've said over time, like plenty of times over seasons, that they should improve their reporting system so that people can detail different scenarios that have been happening, so that they have a better grasp about what's going on with the mode. But they haven't done that, so I don't know. I feel like it's just going to get a little bit worse and worse and worse. I still think, again, it's better than other games, but still, I think it's a problem ArenaNet should handle a little bit more efficiently.
Definitely. The fact that I don't have a text box when I report somebody to like call out specifically what they're doing, because verbal abuse and inappropriate inappropriate names, one of the ones to be self-explanatory, but like there's no like intentional like upsetting the balance of the game or whatever the intentional feeding one is. It's like, what are they doing? And it's just like, it's kind of hard to explain it. And I don't know how much of their analytical stuff on the behavioral team's end actually captures anything there.
Yeah. That's the PvP one. What the other one?
Oh God, this is a piece of work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys want to talk about that one real quick while I go deal with something?
Yeah. So, I'm just gonna link the Reddit thread in chat because this is the stuff that I was talking about at the end of my bit about PvP, where it's just like, whoa, buddy.
I
Chill.
would have blocked them. I don't.
The thing is, this person made
apparently they made another account, and I would have blocked that account too. And I get it. Like, this is not what I would consider to be acceptable behavior. But all you can do is report them. And apparently, I think at one point it said that they've been banned before, but they just keep coming back and doing it. So if they keep, doing this, you would hope that they would get permabanned. But we've already seen from other instances, which, yeah, you just
this one line
on the wrist. And it's terrible. It really is terrible, this kind of behavior. But they'll just make another. If they really want to be persistent, they'll just make another account. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this line kind of worries me. It's like they've been banned before, but apparently this sort of behavior is acceptable to the point where they're allowed to be unbanned. And I don't. That's a problem, because threatening actual murder, even if this person who made the thread was like talking back, like to the point of threatening someone and then being banned but being unbanned later, it's like, you learned your lesson. I'm like, no, this person hasn't learned the lesson. Again, it goes back to the thing of, like, I don't think they're handling these reports properly as much as I'd like. Or
it's impossible to really know how much they.
Yeah, I just don't know. I can't say
how much they see or don't see something like this.
And again, going back to the why haven't they just permabanned him with something like this? Someone like that will keep doing that. Always. And they will find ways to do it, but you have to find a way to hit them to get them to stop doing it. So the way they're doing it is they're banning the account and forcing him to have to buy another one. Because in order for him to like stalk people around like this to make new accounts and do this, is he has to buy the game. Because I think they were talking about it in the thread. One of the situations is like, if a free account can't whisper you unless they're on the same map or you're mutual friends. There are a bunch of restrictions on free to play accounts for whispering. So in order for this guy to keep doing this harassment, he has to buy a new account. So report and block. And in order for him to do anything, and clearly, like they said, a bunch of people got this crap from this guy, report and block, and he has to keep buying new accounts to do this. Eventually, either his money's going to run out or his anger is going to run out. Considering the guy's attitude is probably his money. Considering some of the stuff he typed, like.
The problem is that if they're consistently hitting a group of people, or a group of individuals just consistently by making new accounts, that kind of stems another problem where you're affecting these other people, even though like ArenaNet's getting money out of it. Like, you're just
it's not even about. it's not even about money, right? It's about following the metrics. So, you know, when these sort of things come online, I would hope, and we don't work for ArenaNet. We don't know how they handle these sorts of things. But let's say that they track this person. Okay, they give them a ban, 24 hours, or whatever the ban is. But they give him a small temporary ban. Be a good boy, and he comes back and says, "F that! I'm gonna harass because I'm a 12-year-old little troll and I'm angry at the world or whatever." And he continues to do it. So what they do is they build up tickets. The tickets take a long time to get through, reports, whatever. I'm sure that they probably track his IP. They probably, I don't even know if they work on a 2-strike, 3-strike system. Who knows, right? But people like this, the day is coming when they will get banned. Unfortunately, sometimes it goes on too long. It needs to get public attention like this, which just isn't good for the game in general. And as far as like talking about, or a 30-year-old troll, yeah. Sometimes, people are talking about ban their IP or ban their hardware. Yeah, you could do that. But game companies in general, generally speaking, have a history of that's their last resort, not their first resort. So they'll monitor it for a long time, see if the same IP is the one causing the infraction or whether they need to take it a step further. But it's not just so, I don't think it's so simple just to say like, oh, they should have just instantly done it, because that's just not really their policy anymore. Like it or hate it, that's sort of like the direction games in general are going as far as banning people.
That's also because super extreme first offense stuff doesn't help. Like, it has actually been shown to actually hurt the health of your game.
Yeah. It depends on the level of the first infraction. It depends on the level. Very rarely, some of those will warrant a permanent ban, but I think most companies work on a 3-strike system, but I don't know.
It depends on the company.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like, and to each their own, right? To each their own. But if this happened to me, I would have reported the person, and then I would have blocked them. If they want to make a new account to do it, I'll just report them again and block them again. My block list has no end to it. I have many, many gold sellers and bots and you name it on the block list. So I'm more than happy to continue to block someone who's being rude.
Yeah, at least our block list isn't limited like it was in World of Warcraft for a while. I don't know.
And I know that doesn't solve the problem. You have no idea as a player, and maybe that's why this player hasn't done it. You have no idea as a player if they're getting banned or if they're getting actioned against necessarily, and maybe that is why they don't block them, to see if they leave them alone. But
yeah,
there are options out there to protect yourself if it really bothers you. If it really bothers you on an emotional or mental level or whatever, affects your game, you do have options to stop this behavior yourself, even if ArenaNet isn't doing it.
I mean, I do know it's also kind of that, why don't you just change the radio station kind of response. And yeah, it kind of sucks that people do this in the first place. And
sure,
people shouldn't do this in the first place. But yeah, you do kind of have to, in a free and open internet, people are going to say whatever comes to their mind first. And sometimes that's going to be some shitty stuff. So we all have to be able to just turn it off and report it to the proper setups.
Yeah, in every PvP game, especially when I started League, I had to learn how to block people. It didn't come naturally to me, so it was just something I had to learn. So as soon as someone started saying anything negative, it was just block and mute. Well, not block, mute and keep playing. I had to actually learn that for Guild Wars 2 last season, because it was just getting really bad. And it was just getting...
People take things very seriously that don't always need to be taken seriously. What can you
Exactly.
do?
So,
when you're competitive, it gets worse,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was playing I think I told the story. I was playing an unranked match a couple of weeks ago I was just doing the daily, playing an unranked match. Just all you got to do is play. And went in on a Revenant that didn't have any kind of build or gears. I don't even know what the hell was on. It was just whatever the game set up, that's what I went in on. and it's unranked, doesn't count for anything, and people were pissed. It's like, how hard is it? Just auto attack. Just auto. I was like, well, that's it. Now I'm switching to staff, and I'm not auto attacking anything.
Yeah.
I get so mad, and you're in unranked. Who cares?
Yeah, the last time I went into an unranked, I played a medic shout staff guardian.
If you really care about winning, go play ranked. Season was live. It wasn't like it was, it's whatever.
Yeah, no, unranked is where you go do weird stuff, is where you queue up with your friends and you go do some weird team compy thing that you just want to go have fun with. That's the purpose of unranked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get me wrong. If you are somebody who wants to play the game seriously, or you care about timed speed kills, or you care about being ranked #1, there are places for that type of play, behavior, whatever. But play with those people. Don't randomly queue and be like, oh my God, the world is over. Everything sucks. All of you people are terrible. I'm going to harass you now for 3 months.
Yeah, I always remember that with like speed clears for dungeons. That's not the default game mode of playing. Like, it's specified. That's fine if you want to be a speed clear, or Ings is saying, like the other types. Like if you want to be hardcore PvP player, that you just specify that. Be in that type of group. If you want to be a hardcore raider, try to be first and everything. Yeah. Find that group, but don't think that's the default game, like how to play the game.
You know what's actually interesting? Now you guys brought it up. For speed clears, they usually just group up, like they pug it, and then they clear, and, they go out there, go each on their merry way. Why don't people, like, friend them afterwards and, like, hey, we're going to do this, like, you want to join, that type of thing? Why don't people do that more often? I think people do that for raid, because I know I've been called in sometimes for it, but, like, I kind of wish there was a mechanism to, because I know, like, with Overwatch, they're like, stay as a group after the match ends. Like, I wish there was kind of something like that with, like, the end of dungeon. Well, back when dungeon speedrunning was the thing, like end of fractals or end of raiding boss wing. You could just add them to friends list afterwards or something like that. I think that'd be a little bit more helpful in finding players that you want to play with. So that's just my 2 cents anyway.
And Dialoom, I'm sorry, but if you are going into unranked and you're there to take it serious because you still want to win, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not there to win. I'm literally there to run the clock out. And maybe I'm a little plague scarab, but I don't care.
That's one of those things where it's you go into a game mode and you're not supposed to go into anything looking to lose. That's why they changed the way the like purposefully. Well, that's the problem. That's why they went and changed the purpose of the events in the temples. No, you got to fail it. You got to fail it so we can do the chain over again. That's why they changed that, so that you could get whatever the triggers are there off of the defense events and not just the taking the temple. So I can kind of see why, like, that medic build I took into PvP on my Guardian with the staff and shouts, I didn't expect it to work very well, but I was still going to try. Like, I was still going to play the game. I was going to rotate. I was going to buff and support and, bunker on a point. I didn't expect to really contribute to my team because I don't think staff works super well in PvP. But, I mean, at the very least, and to be honest, you went into PvP, you were, like, on that, you were going in to do your dailies, yeah? But winning is one of your dailies, right?
No, I just needed to play. I didn't need to win. And hence, I don't care if I win or lose. I'm just there to play a chill game. I don't care if I win or lose. I'm not there to try hard. I still get stuff if I lose.
Right.
So I don't care. If I want to win, and if I want to try hard, I will play ranked because that's what I'm supposed to play.
I'm talking more on the level of
I don't care. And lots of people are like that. And if you're going to play unranked and you really care about winning to the point where you get super frustrated and angry, then you're playing the wrong game mode. I'm sorry.
Like, well, no, I totally agree. Like, playing unranked and getting super stressed out about it, that's not Like that's where I say it's unranked. Chill. Like I said, I didn't expect to win with that medic guard build, but I'm not gonna go into PvP and like.
I don't
Not
go
try.
into.
I'm not gonna I'm
Sure.
not gonna blow all my cooldowns and be like super on point and be like, okay, gotta win, gotta focus, gotta win, gotta do my rotations properly. No, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna like try, but I'm not gonna like put my 100% into it because it's unranked.
I just go in and press buttons. Whatever happens, happens.
It's more like with unranked, you play like normally. You could try your hardest, or you can just try normally, but you're not mad if you lose. That's kind of the point of unranked. Like you're just not. You don't have to be mad if you lose. Like it's just a. But with ranked, you're more determined to win. That's kind of the difference, I feel like, for me. So with unranked, again, it doesn't. If you win, great. If you lose, oh well. I'll go to the next game.
I don't understand why you would ever get mad at anybody in unranked for not trying. Then don't play unranked. Go play ranked if you want to win. If you want people who are trying.
Well, I can definitely see somebody getting a little miffed when like someone goes in and is dancing in spawn.
Sure, if you're dancing or if you're AFK, or I get that. I understand, like, wow, you're totally wasting space. But if I'm running around trying to take points, pressing my buttons, pressing my skills, I'm playing the game. It's not like I'm not doing anything. But if the other team is just beating you because they're tryharding, then hey.
Yeah, I mean, in unranked, that's where you go to learn. I mean, yes, you can go and look up meta battle, but that's, if that's how you want to play, that's how you want to play. But
Inx's mentality is that he's still playing the mode, he's still trying to win, but he's not overly obsessive about winning.
If I win, that would be awesome. But
Yeah,
I really care less if I win or lose.
But I think
a lot of people are in that mentality. And
I think long story short with toxicity.
If you get upset at people in unranked, I don't know what to tell you. It's unranked. I mean,
yeah,
people are gonna play weird builds. I've played weird builds before. I know some people may want to try learn something new. Like I'm a terrible mesmer, and I will only play that in unranked because that is the mode that I'll get less to no flack about. So,
but the daily room, Adia, doesn't. The daily is to play a game of ranked or unranked. That's the daily. So you can't do that in a daily room. They kind of killed daily rooms, didn't they? For the most part.
So I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I've never used them.
There's often a daily to like go play an automated tournament. Well, I'm not going to do that because I'm not interested in that. But if the daily is just play a game of unranked, then I'll go play a game of unranked. I don't have to win or lose or do anything. I just have to play. And that's what I do.
I think long story short, with toxic players, if they're being rude to you, block them, do what you got to do. There's means in game to, deal with them. Like we said, block them. That way you don't see it because, even if you're like, that's not going to affect me. He's seeing it. It's going to affect you a little bit. Like you're eventually going to get annoyed and then, let them talk to a wall. Let them tire themselves out. But like I said, there are other means. Like for example, you could drop a giant meteor on them.
Oh my god!
If you buy it from the gem store. Oh, and thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. So first up, the Geomancer Glider for 500 gems. I mean, basically, it's pretty simple. It has you riding on a giant flaming meteor, and I mean,
pretty awesome.
I have noticed it is not dieable. That is important to note. Like people were like hoping like you could dye the flames or something like that. Unfortunately, you cannot.
I just want one dye channel for the flame. That's all I wanted, but I will live.
Do not use in jumping puzzles where you can glide because you won't see shit, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
so I can totally imagine how awesome this would look in the Mistlock Sanctuary.
By the way, if you have like a Halloween tonics, try to get a giant plastic spider and then glide with this. It is ginormous.
Oh my god.
And there are some that make it super tiny. It's great. But yeah, I converted. I got a bunch of gold, and I'm like, I saw this, and I'm like, convert to gems and buy. And it was awesome. I love it. Even though I can't dye the flame, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping to keep my like little nest egg for PoF, but this is making it hard. I'm probably gonna be picking this one up.
This is the new Raven Spirit glider.
I think the Raven one is worse actually, but yeah, this is up there.
I can't.
It's so random too. But
I just kind of
anyway.
want to run around with the Zerg with this and. Ooh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
on cameras.
Camera's
See my
dead.
face.
Um,
I'm like Exodia.
webcam. Oh,
My head. Oh, no, I'm no longer
okay.
Exodia.
Okay.
Off.
I will just. Wow.
Okay. I just shared mine. Age, you're up.
But
And Inks.
all right, I didn't do that, Zlint. I'm sorry.
That just happened.
That
was
the
weird.
program. But anyway. What do you mean that's bad? How do I ban? No, I'm kidding. Anyway. But yeah, the Geomancer glider, 500 gems, so pretty standard for a glider, but yeah, if you want to ride a giant flaming rock, you know, here is your chance.
I kind of like NG's visual mess meatball name for this. Because that's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, it
Alright,
even
yeah.
has that like little blast effect at the end. Not a blast finisher though. That would be a little bit overpowered.
Pay for win.
Yeah. So it doesn't do that before people start-
Gliding blast finisher.
Yeah.
I kind of want a Zerg to just jump down from their tower, and then you hear the music from the Matrix. What was it called? Navras, I think it was called.
Oh my god.
That'd be amazing.
I just want one staff Ellie to start casting like rain of fire, and it's like ha ha ha, yeah, whatever, to a Zerg, and then all of a sudden these giant boulders come crashing down. It's like, oh my god.
Jesus. To be honest though, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this model used in an encounter of some sort at some point.
Mm-hmm.
When Balthazar is raining hell upon us.
Maybe. Like, you know, these are the meteors that are going to come crashing down on our heads. That'd be kind of cool, actually.
Yep. Any final thoughts on the Geomancer glider?
Nope.
Next up, we have kind of stuff that's returning, but kind of new bundle, at least. It's the Timey package. So it's 2,000 gems for the Timey's outfit, mini Scruffy, one immortal weapon choice, and one Scruffy backpack.
So, Inks, you bought this immediately, right?
No. First of all, it's more expensive than the others, and I mean the outfit's cool. I wouldn't mind having another immortal weapon, but I don't even know if I have any of the items in this actual package. I don't think I do. Maybe I have the mini. Maybe I have the mini, maybe, but I don't have any of the other stuff. Yeah, could I just buy a box of immortal weapons, ArenaNet, please? Yeah, I don't want to spend 2,000 gems.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's how they get you. Is I just want the immortal weapon. Click.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
if
buy.
someone's
You
buying
can
this
get
just
them
for the
from,
immortal weapon, ugh.
You can get them from Black Lion wardrobe unlocks, by the way, immortal weapons. It's the only one I have. That's where it's from. But of course, it's random. But yeah, if it's cool, I don't know if I wanted to use an outfit for an engineer, maybe. I really wish it was armor, but anyway, it's a separate topic.
Yeah.
If you want armor for an engineer, just buy the Magitech.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Chad. Like, I never bought the outfit. I always felt there were better ones, or even like Aether Blade stuff, like armor. But you know, if you want an outfit, then you want Scruffy and all that stuff.
This has got a half a butt, side leg cape. They just can't help themselves with the capes. They did like this outfit didn't need it, but they just couldn't help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
But also, they have another package. It is, once again, old stuff like basically packaged into a bundle for easier access. It is Rox's package. This one is only 1,600 gems. It has the Rox's Pathfinder outfit, Rox's shortbow skin, and Rox's quiver set, and 2 communal boost campfires. So,
Quiver is awesome.
The bow and the quiver are cool. The outfit is meh, and the bonfires.
I like the outfit on like Norn, I think it was. No, on females, because it looks kind of like the like CS source. I think it was source, like when you're like in Arctic warfare type of deal.
yeah, I
Like,
was
you
gonna say,
buy
it kind
that
of like
way.
gives like a neoprene mask type thing, like almost
There
like
you
Arctic.
go, yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
kind of
it
like
definitely
that
looks.
look.
I have the bow. I have the back piece from a really long time ago. And if you own those things, you don't actually get a discount here, which is criminal. Criminal's too strong, but it's a shame. And once again, God, it looks ridiculous on Char, that helmet. But once again, you know, I wish it was armor. I think it's a cool outfit. It'd be even cooler if it was actually an armor piece, because I think there are some really nice pieces in this set. But even if they took, you know what, even if they took outfits, okay, let's just say we have to do outfits. Even if they made it so that you could hide or overlay particular pieces of the outfit onto armor, I'd be okay with that. Do you know what I mean? So I could pick and choose a couple of pieces. Maybe like, for example, the chest piece on humans there looks like this hard shell. I love that. I like the shoulder piece, but I don't need the helmet, which I could hide, I guess. And I don't need the whatever, some of the other pieces, but I don't know. Anyway.
But it takes 9 months to make armor.
Oh my God. No, it doesn't. Stop. I don't care if that's what they actually tell us. I don't believe it. I just can't. Like, how? Anyway, let's just move on to the next item.
After show talk.
We've just had that conversation so many times. It's just
Yeah, it
anyway.
feels like it's like being a dead horse type thing. But
9
yeah,
months
so
twice. Yeah,
Oh no.
1.5 months twice.
yeah, so you can pick that up for 1,600 gems. Also, stuff that is leaving soon: cosmic harvesting, logging, and mining tools, which are 1,000 gems each. They are the infinite ones, so you don't have to worry about ever switching them out or anything like that. The ceremonial plated outfit for 700 gems. The Daydreamer's finery outfit for 700 gems. Some returning items: the Bloody Princess outfit, Gwen's attire, Mad Scientist outfit, Slayer's outfit, Ironclad outfit, Nature's Oath outfit for all 700 gems. Remember, those are outfits. Let's not get into the discussion on that one. Bone Pick, Tireless Harvesting Minion, the Tireless Logging Minion, which are all 700 gems apiece, which these are all also infinite gathering tools, right? Or unlimited gathering tools. So
Yep.
700 gems, that's, a lot cheaper than that's cheaper than when they were character bound. So definitely, pick those up if you're interested in those. Maybe, you got a necromancer, it'd be perfect for those. Available for one day: the Fuzzy Bear hat, the Fuzzy Quaggan hat with a bow for 200 gems apiece, the Mask of the Jubilee and Mask of the Queen for 400 gems apiece. Available for 2 days: Bram's Wolf Blood Pauldrons for 300 gems, and the Chaos Glove skin for 500 gems. Also available for 5 days, oh boy, Scruffy's backpack at 400 gems, Mini Outlaw Puppy for 400 gems, Mini Snow Cougar Cub for 400 gems, Mini Packed Airship for 350 gems, and the Mini Rock for 350 gems. Available for 6 days, the Mini Arrowhead 400 gems, Mini Fox Kit 400 gems, Mini Avatar the Tree 350 gems, Mini Wyvern for 350 gems, the Mini Moose for 350 gems. So all that stuff that has like come back
Is all
or
for
is
sale
only
but not
available-
on sale.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, the Bone Pick and the Harvested stuff seems like it's on sale.
Don't
Got a
buy the
cheaper
mini
rate.
arrowhead; it doesn't roll.
The minis aren't, and they should be. But anyway,
People, chat is talking about mount skins. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we all like it's gonna be a thing. There's no way that mount skins won't be a thing.
Well, the cosmic tools are 1,000 each. That's not on sale. That's for sale. Every outfit is for sale and not on sale. ArenaNet. I mean, anyway, let's make money.
Wording.
Put it on sale. Let's stop pretending that it's this rare thing that you bring back once in a while and tease us with so that we can't help but buy it.
They brought it out of the vault. Like Disney.
Sure.
I mean, hey, Nashblade actually has a vault. He probably sticks all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
He's actually like Disney. And Lion's Arch looks like a theme park. There we go. It all makes sense now. But would you recommend any of these for people to possibly consider picking up, or?
No,
No.
Cosmic is not the one I was thinking. Cosmic tools are cool if you want cool stuff, but I would wait for Unbound Magic tools again. Gwen's Attire is good for Guild Wars 1 references. Fuzzy hats if you're into that. Chaos gloves, kind of Guild Wars 1 reference again. But other than that, not. Those are the things I would get anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to put stuff on sale like they did not too long ago. They had an anniversary sale. That's good.
That was an anniversary
Good
sale.
stuff. Good stuff. The artificial scarcity thing, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
If that gets some people excited, I think that's awesome. But stuff is not on sale. It's just that you can buy it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, the bone pick and stuff, like those ones are 700 gems a piece, so that's actually kind of a good deal if you're looking for just
30% off.
Yeah, if you're just looking for unlimited gathering tools and don't really care about the skin.
To be honest, food for thought. Path of Fire is 14 days away. There's going to be new stuff in the gem store. That's why they're getting rid of a lot of this stuff and doing blowouts and so on. Why is it not on sale? 20% off, 30% off, 40% off. Make us want to spend gems by making it appear so cheap that you have to have it.
Yeah.
Drain the gems. Drain our banks, our reserves, so that when you release a mount skin on September 22nd to replace your Raptor or something, then you'll want to spend more money. Doesn't seem like a hard concept to me. And I know I'm being jerkish and a little abrasive, but come on.
Oh, NG. NG is saying that the bone pick is 1,000 gems in his client.
Yeah, it's not on sale, for sale. And it doesn't harvest magic, and it doesn't harvest sprockets, so good luck. Might as well wait for those to come back and actually get something out of it other than an animation.
Must have been a typo on our part. Sorry about that.
To be fair, they have better metrics than me. You're not wrong, Carnifex. They do have better metrics than me. Obviously, they know what they're doing, monetizing their game, but come on. 20% off. Doesn't really hurt their bottom line. It's a virtual item. It's like there's limited supply.
As a Guild Wars 1 vet, Chaos Gloves, like, you know, at least in Guild Wars 1, that was like a sign of like you did some, you know, you did some collecting. So, I mean, if you are looking for that look from Guild Wars 1, you know, definitely pick those up. That would probably be my recommendation. But, any other thoughts on the Jump Store stuff?
Bring back Magic Tech Armor. I have a cosplay thing I want to make in-game.
There you go. Well, maybe they will.
My response to that is, woo.
Well, let us talk about kind of our new segment we kind of just started up here. We got the Community Corner. We're always looking for CC. First up, we have...
God.
What?
That was a joke he did last week, but it still hits him.
I wasn't
He
here
wasn't here.
last week.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
To watch the show at work.
But yeah, first up we have kind of a fan-made Lich King trailer. They named it the Wrath of the Shiver Peaks. For people who don't know, it's based off of WoW's Wrath of the Lich King trailer type thing. It's pretty well made. We have a little bit of it here, but definitely we'll throw the link in chat, but also it'll be, if you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be in the description. Definitely watch the full thing. It's definitely really well made. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on... This is made in Guild Wars 2. Like, this isn't, you know...
Some of the best stuff Sampo's ever done.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, this looks
And I
pretty
know
good.
a lot of people love his stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was really well made.
You know
Especially,
what this sort of makes me wish is that we had better tools for machinima videos like this, because look what he's doing without tools like that. Can you imagine if he had actual tools?
yeah. I like how he used the Claw of Jormag event to capture like the ice wyvern, or I don't know what it's called in WoW, but
Syndragosa.
yeah, there you go. But I like how he used the environment to his advantage. It was really cool.
Really well edited, well put together, thought out. Yeah. Well done.
Seriously.
Yeah.
This is Sampo Adia.
I
Yeah,
threw
this
out
is
the
good.
link to the video at least, but yeah. Also, on Reddit, I think this was last week, and they kept having a couple updates and stuff. The Discord server was made for learning raids and running like clears. They did say that they're NA, region at this time, and it's nothing against EU players. It's just they don't have that many EU players in the region. So I mean, heck, if you're an EU player and you like this, join up, and I'm sure they'll be happy to create like an EU segment and get it running through there. But they kind of did say their aim is to provide a network for players of varying degrees of experience to form up and become more experienced in low-stress learning environments. Kind of like what we were saying before about, the whole pugging thing. Like, why doesn't, people keep people on friends lists or something to make it, easier? Here we go. We got a Discord server to help you with that. It's like pugging within pugging, but you actually know these people, so it no longer becomes pugging, but it is pugging. Drink every time I say pugging.
I don't want to die.
Pug. Pugging.
But any thoughts on the Discord server?
Good
EU
idea.
doesn't need a region. EU is greater than NA, apparently. So
I think I get asked that question a lot. I'm looking for a rating group all the time, and I try to direct them as best I can to people I know who have rating groups for NA or wherever. But I just think this is a great resource.
I think they're even still looking for like people to teach, like, or be like trainers and stuff like that. So if you do have experience and want to help out, definitely look them up. We'll throw the link in chat for people that are here. But like, once again, if you're on YouTube and want to join up, definitely, we'll have the link in the description. But other than that, hey, if we didn't say something from the community that, they didn't talk about this person's video or this topic or something from the community that did something awesome. Just like in game, if we didn't do the CC you wanted, yell at us in the comments, more this CC, use this CC. There. Yeah.
You pain me, Deo.
Yeah, I try. But that is it for this week. Not going to put anybody else through torture. So, Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MouthAnisMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Zero to Hero PvP night, where we do ranked shenanigans. Currently Gold 1, hoping to end at least Gold 2, so trying to climb up a rank every season. Not doing too bad. Apparently I'm half decent at Elementalist. We'll see how that works once Path of Fire comes out and throws balance in the meta all kinds of places.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
you could find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Age Night Road. I am not playing PvP right now. I'm kind of in a bit of a PvE binge because I'm just gearing up for Path of Fire. I have to make legendaries before they comes out, hopefully. So I see people shaking their head, but I have to get my rifle from my thief, and I want Aurora done. I'm also going to be doing Path of Fire Ultimate giveaway if I reach 1,000 followers. I did a giveaway on YouTube that ended yesterday, but yeah, just more giveaways too and stuff like that. So.
And Inks, where can they find you?
You can find me in unranked PvP, not trying.
At MMOinks.
Oh boy.
That
Yeah,
is.
someone's gonna quote you on that.
Go watch those 2 videos. They're under 1,000, so he can get them. That too.
That's it. Only place you can find me.
Okay. And you can find me at simply_Dea on Twitch, Twitter. Well, yeah, Twitch and Twitter. Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you, Sundorai, Jaibu Cool, Sigfast Strong, 7-Bit Brian, Serene Virus, Aurora Peachy, Moonkiller NV, That Chevron, and Host of Ascalon for the host this week. Oh boy, that's gonna be a big tweet to send out. And if you are just popping at the very end, so if you notice the clip the voice has changed. It's basically I didn't want your ears to succumb to dogs barking from like maybe 2 feet away from the mic. So yeah, you can check us out if you're watching us on YouTube. Show up to twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And if you're watching this, go to YouTube, search Talking Skritt, use the first one that pops up, and I'm gonna do a custom outro. So, wow.